Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1750A, and today's date is December 26th, 2018, and the title of the episode is, Why is the mainstream media deep state panicking over the Fed? Who has the magic wand? Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk about gold. Gold has been sought after, valuable, and highly regarded for thousands of years. Countries are repatriating and buying gold like never before. Gold is still considered one of the safest investments on earth. Gold was used in biblical times as a store of wealth and a way to move around without the need for banks and thrifts to hold your assets. This is still the case today. Gold can be used as a medium of exchange and a store of value. No currency in the world can claim to have been around since the birth of Jesus. It is this power to survive intact which has cemented gold's reputation as a safe haven for investments. Because of this stability, the IRS lets you use gold as part of your IRA or 401k rollover. Noble Gold are specialists in this type of product and have helped thousands of folks just like you to save for a happy and comfy retirement. If you would like to join them in that, call 877-646-5347 now and talk to the experts about how to get your gold IRA started, or go to noblegoldinvestments.com and start your investment in gold today. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, here we are a day after Christmas, and the mainstream media, they're pushing the idea that Christmas sales have been fantastic. Now, the National Retail Federation, they forecasted a sales bump of about 4.8% to a combined $720 billion for November and December. And we can see that this holiday season, people went out and they spent more money. According to MasterCard and Spending Pulse, we see that U.S. sales, excluding autos, of course, they climbed about 5.1% between November and December 24th, compared with a year earlier. That means the U.S. consumers spent about $850 billion overall. Now, we need to understand that this is debt spending. Because if we look at what really is going on here, we can see that many people use their credit cards. Remember, the central bank, they have been brainwashing us to think that, oh, if MasterCard reports this and, people spent on their credit cards, it is fantastic. It's great for the economy. Well, it might be great for the retail industry. It might be great for GDP numbers because 70% of spending is GDP. But for the American people, all it does is it puts them further and further into debt. Now, the latest spending data revealed the following. Spending outpaced incomes once again in November. And if you look at savings rate, the savings rate has dropped once again. And we need to understand that people are using debt. Remember, the FICO scores were completely recalculated, and people were able to take on more debt this holiday season. Remember, these bills are going to come due in the beginning of 2019, and this is when it starts to fall apart. We see that home prices right now, they're at all-time highs. Adam Data Solutions, which maintains the country's largest property database, showed that the median price for U.S. homes during the fourth quarter was at its most unaffordable level since the third quarter of 2008. It's more than a 10-year high. So what does this mean? This means that the bubbles in all these cities, they've been pumped up to heights that we've never seen before. We're even past the 2008 height of the bubbles back then. And what it shows is that people, they're not making enough to keep up with this type of inflation, especially when people are losing jobs or they've got part-time jobs and their wages are declining. The report says among 469 U.S. counties analyzed in the report, 357 or 76% posted a fourth quarter affordability index below 100, meaning homes were less affordable than long-term affordability averages for the country. That was down from a 10-year high of 78% of counties posting at affordability index below 100 in the third quarter of 2018. And across the U.S., buying a home remains out of reach for most workers. And we've been tracking this for a very long time. We understand that the way they calculate who's working, who has a job, is done by, if you worked an hour this week, you have a job. If you have a part-time job, you have a full-time job. You have 2 part-time jobs, you have 2 full-time jobs. So just because they're telling you that everyone is employed doesn't mean that people are actually making money to go out and purchase these homes, especially if homes are continually rising and rising and rising. Remember, all this manipulation is being done on purpose. Now, what's very interesting is that right before Christmas and Christmas Eve, the stock market completely collapsed. Mnuchin was out there trying to rebuild it, talking to people, saying there's liquidity and things like that. And it came out that Trump said, listen, and he told reporters this, that companies, we have the greatest companies in the world, and they're doing really well. They have a record kinds of numbers, so I think it's tremendous opportunity to buy. Really a great opportunity to buy. Now, people were very worried about this, and people were saying, well, wait a minute, he's telling us to buy. Look at the market. It's crashing. It's going to continue to crash. We need to remember something very, very important about this entire economic system. Remember, this economic system was created on a gigantic illusion. The numbers are manipulated. We've been talking about this for a very long time. The stock market, as we've been talking about for a very long time, is manipulated. Remember, there was a little instance between Obama and Trump where Obama says you don't have a magic wand, and Trump said, yeah, I have the magic wand right now. Well, Trump does have the magic wand. He understands how this system is manipulated. Don't you think it's amazing how we came out of Christmas Day and Trump is saying, listen, I believe it's a good time to buy the dip. People are very nervous, but I do believe he understands, he knows what's going to happen the next day. Why? Because he has the magic wand. He knows how the manipulation is done. He knows how to manipulate the markets. The deep state, the central bankers, they've been doing this for a very long time. I don't believe he'd be out there saying something if he already didn't know what the market was most likely going to do. And at the time that I'm doing this right now, we see the market is skyrocketing. I'm going to say by the time the market closes today, I bet you we're going to see the market way, way up. And remember, Trump has the magic wand. And this is actually a confirmation that the market is maybe controlled by certain individuals. Let's just put it at that. So when we start to look around, we start to realize that the deep state, the Fed, they're very nervous. And Trump is continually out there contradicting the Fed. Trump, the Patriots, they have full control of what is going on right now. They control the narrative. This is why Trump is out there continually hammering at the Fed. Actually, you're going to see his attacks on the Fed intensify over time. And he's going to continually call out the Fed about the rates. And we can see already that the mainstream media, they're picking up on this. And this is why we have a lot of the financial pundits out there saying, well, Trump can't fire the Fed. Oh, Trump can't do this. Trump can't do that. Because they're very nervous and afraid. Actually, right now, they believe that Trump has done a huge amount of damage to the Fed. And we're starting to see this come out of certain news publications. And that the Fed, well, they're going to have a lot of trouble trying to keep this economy going. So already, the mainstream media, financial pundits are very worried about the Fed and their ability to react to what is happening right now. Trump completely controls the narrative. We even have Maxine Waters out there. And she's saying that Trump needs to stop criticizing the Fed. Plus, she's saying we need to get rid of Trump altogether. She's very nervous and afraid. Why is she so nervous and afraid of Trump criticizing the Fed? That's very interesting. So in the latest interview that she was doing, this is what she said. Take a listen.
The Fed does not work for the President of the United States. The Fed creates monetary policy based on what's good for the economy. And of course, I may disagree from time to time with their decisions, but we must not interfere. They must be independent. Right now, Powell is saying that they're dealing with inflation, but they don't work for the president. The president can't fire them. All that the president can do when he opens his mouth is rattle the markets. As a matter of fact, the volatility that you see in the markets is caused by the kinds of statements that this president will make, causing more uncertainty. And so I'm not surprised that the president is doing this, because I'm not surprised at anything that the president may do or say. I have warned America from the beginning that this president...
And she went on to say, the Fed must be independent. So again, she's one of those politicians that have become corrupt by the central banking system. Remember Q's post back in 2087 when Q said the following about Maxine Waters. Maxine Waters, California ranking member. How do you obstruct oversight? How do you obtain inside knowledge to closed-door financial investigations? Maxine Waters, California ranking member. Those who are the loudest have the most to fear, or kill brackets bold, hide. Money talks. This tells us a lot about Maxine Waters. And of course, within this Q post, Q has given us information about Maxine and what she's done, how much she's received, and things like that. So we see at this time, the mainstream media, the deep state, they're getting very, very nervous about what is happening. Remember, at this point, Trump, the Patriots, they have full control. Trump has the magic wand. He can really make the market do whatever he wants. And we can see by what is happening today already. Even if the market finishes 20 points up, guess what? If you bought at the low and it went up to that point, you'd still make out. It's showing you how much control they actually have. Why? Because they've taken over the deep state, the central bank manipulation game. They completely control it. Remember, those players that are in certain positions, they're there for a purpose. He needs them in these positions to do what they do best, manipulate. And once he doesn't need the manipulators any longer, he's going to get rid of them, just like we've seen other players dropped, or they resigned, or he fired them. It all depends on how it works out. So we are getting prepared and ready for this transition. You can see the attacks are intensifying. Moving into 2019, you're going to see the attacks intensify even further. And Trump is just not going to talk about interest rates. He's going to go deeper and deeper into the Fed of why do we need the Fed? If they're doing this to the economy, why does the Fed exist? Why is it a private corporation? And he's going to continually say this to bring the American people up to speed, to make sure they understand what the Fed is doing. And then eventually, at a certain point in time, all of a sudden, they're going to call for auditing the Fed, because when the collapse happens, when the economy starts to really fall apart, all the fingers are going to be pointed at the Fed. And eventually, they're going to move into, well, maybe we should look into what the Fed has been doing. Maybe we should open the books. Maybe we need an audit. Maybe we need to understand what the Fed actually is. And once the people start to realize and understand what the Fed is, well, this is when things start to turn around. And this is where I believe gold will come in to eventually destroy the Fed. Because once Trump, the Patriots say, okay, we're turning towards gold, the Federal Reserve dollar, the debt note, completely loses value. And it is destroyed instantaneously. So we can see already we are on that path. Remember, the Patriots have the magic wand. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.